You're allowed to eat off the floor, right? Like, I mean, really, you can eat off the ground, you know, and if it's a peanut butter moon pie, you struck gold, right? At least that's me. I don't know, we'll do a moon pie evaluation of what your favorite flavor is. But I was at Mardi Gras on Fat Tuesday with my family. It's really the only day we go. We love Mardi Gras, we don't love heat. And so, unfortunately, it's not cool all the time. But we were downtown, and I look over, I'm on the corner of Broad and Royal, I think, right at Mardi Gras Park. And I look over and I see one of my former students in this VIP section for families with children with disabilities. And I'm like, what in the world is this? You know, like, I was like, whose idea was this? And how come we didn't know about it? I had no clue. And so I, the nosy person I am, get up and walk over and I see and I wave and I look and I watch hundreds of people try to be like, oh, can I come in? They're like, no, sorry, VIP only. But I meet this guy named Dale. And I'm asking him about what's going on. And he's like, yeah, I'm a dad. I have a son. And we wanted accessibility to certain things. He's going to talk more about it. But he has created, because of a need, and because of a way that he saw something in the community, and he decided to look again and figure out not just a problem, but a solution. And I think as we look at the things that we have in this world, identifying problems is the easiest thing in the world, okay? It's giving solutions to those problems that really are effective. And I'll be honest, you are a world full of solution people, okay? And I say you, I mean students and teachers. This conference is so unique because we bring you both together. But I will tell you, my whole world has been better because of students. And students who have helped me see what I don't see. So I'm going to introduce you to Dale. He's going to tell you some snazzy stuff, okay, about his world. So y'all welcome up Dale Jackson.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I'm learning so much about the organization. This is our third time getting to talk to, we talked to the group in Tuscaloosa and then Auburn. As you can tell, I'm a lot closer to Auburn than I am Tuscaloosa. A lot of the drive behind Snazzy comes from, quite frankly, the lunacy that is me being an Auburn football fan. What I'm going to attempt to do today is tell you about Snazzy 1, tell you what it is, tell you what we've been doing, but then communicate to you guys how you can help take Snazzy to the next level and kind of what our future plans for Snazzy are. Before I go too far, first let me say, what exactly is Snazzy? Snazzy stands for Special Needs Assistance Station for You. The 4 is silent. Now, where did Snazzy come from and how did it get created? Well, it actually started a long, long time ago when I was basically in your shoes. When I started high school, I was extremely short and a lot more round, even though I'm in my old age, I'm getting rounder again. But, and I was very timid. I was very shy. And the only person that I knew in high school was my best friend's mom. And she served in the self-contained special needs classroom. And so every waking moment in between my classes, I would just go hang out in her classroom. And I spent all 4 years of my high school career just hanging out in the self-contained classroom, getting to know all the students, getting to know all the parapros and all the teachers that helped out on field days and whatnot. And but it was in that classroom that my senior year that I really felt like the Lord communicated to me that He had me placed in that classroom to help show me what does it look like to have a special needs child? What does it look like to go beyond those limitations? And what does it look like and feel like to have the support of your community, or in many cases to not have the support? And fast forward about 10 years and my son Colin was born, son Colin is now 18. And as some of you that maybe are directly involved with individuals with special needs, you see the physical restraints that come with having a loved one with special needs. It's a lot different when they're 2 and 3 years old and they're not hitting their milestones. I know for me, we found out when my son was roughly about a year old that he was having seizures. And the reason why we didn't know that before is because his seizures, they weren't physically prevalent. It was basically him just kind of zoning out. But the problem was that his seizures weren't happening 3 or 4 times a day. Unfortunately, his seizures were happening literally 24/7. So in utero and for the first 2 or 3 years of his life, he was basically just having a seizure continuously. And they encompassed his whole entire brain. So it wasn't like we could go in and kind of like mute this one little firing synapses in his brain. But thankfully, he just grew out of it. We don't really know why. It wasn't really due to medication. But thankfully, he quit having seizures. But obviously that has affected his brain development. And so my son wears a diaper now. We're trying to teach him through some different therapies to help get over that hurdle. But the one thing that I realized that as my son got older and older, he got bigger and bigger, it is a lot more, we'll say, inconvenient to change a dirty diaper. And I apologize. Sometimes I get chastised because I can be very vocal and mouthy on Facebook. And I'm not very sensitive, so I hope you will kind of bear with me. I may not use all the correct social terms, but like I got in trouble last week because I called my son wearing a diaper. It was supposed to be called something else. I don't know what. I called it a diaper. Because after you change 17,594 of them throughout life, I get the right to call it whatever I want to. And so I call it a diaper. But I digress. Point is, life can get challenging. The older we get, the bigger we get. And so for me and my family, yep, that's the picture I was assuming we were on right now. So that's me and my son at a football game. However, that is not what I looked like about 20 some odd years ago in my, as I mentioned before, my lunacy that is Auburn fandom. My season tickets were in row 1 of the end zone, so I could literally bend over and touch the grass. And I would generally be wearing an orange wig, an orange jumpsuit. I'm not joking when I said I had a 6-foot by 10-foot Auburn flag on the back of my truck, and I would circle the city limits of Auburn on game day, and that's who I was. And so I tell that story because of what preceded that. And some of you may understand what I'm about to say, and some of you may not. And I'm actually jealous for those of you that don't understand what I'm about to say. But as I was a young adult, I'll say, and as I was donning my Auburn wig and wearing my Auburn jumpsuit, in the future, because at that time of my life, some of you guys in here will understand, you think about what does it look like, feel like, what's reality to be a dad? I know that there's a lot of ladies in the room with us, and I'm sure it's easier for you to understand. When you think about being a mom and you think about, painting your nails with your little 3-year-old and doing the tea parties and, us guys, we think of stuff like that too. But for us, it's kind of more so, we're going to take our son hunting or fishing, or for me, it was, I'm going to take my son tailgating at Jordan-Hare Stadium. That I'm going to be throwing the football with my son. Until you have a neurologist explain to you that your son's probably never going to throw the football. And he's definitely not going to be running and catching the football. And that's hard to process as a dad. especially a dad who was transitioning from the orange wig and the orange jumpsuit and the 10-foot flag. And so for the next few years, as my son was getting older and older, and I was realizing that not only was my son not going to be throwing the football outside Jordan-Hare Stadium, it was quickly becoming impossible for me to even take my son to a football game. And so that's when I went from never missing a single home game and traveling with the team to go to bowl games to a human being that had convinced himself that I didn't even want to go to that stupid football game anyway. I don't like Auburn. I don't want to go to that game. I was lying to myself. And so many of parents that are in our shoes, we have to lie to ourselves that we don't want to go to that fill-in-the-blank event. And the reason why we don't want to go to that event is because we know going to that event is going to be 27 different things that we have to hurdle, that we have to plan for, that we have to bring, fill in the blank, supply or reserve or a change of clothes, diapers, pads, you name it, we got to plan for it. And then just when we think we plan for every single thing possible that could go wrong, Lord knows our child gets older, bigger, different. We face a new obstacle, and it is crushing. And not only is it emotionally and physically crushing, a lot of times, to be blunt with you, it's embarrassing, it's tiring, it is emotionally draining, it is nerve-wracking. It is nerve-wracking to be sitting in a restaurant, in a football game, in a concert, acting like, lying to yourself, lying to the public, that you are having fun, you are enjoying yourself, and you are a nervous wreck. Because I know at any minute my son is going to give me that look that I know oh so well that means I just pooped my pants and your night is over and we are going home. Because let me challenge each and every one of you. Please, if you can answer this question, raise your hand and I will give you a $100 bill in my pocket. Within 5 miles of this location right now, please tell me where the nearest adult changing table is.
0.
I couldn't tell you where one is. I don't think there is one. Probably not in Saraland. Honestly, I don't think there is one. I think there is one in somewhere near the cruise ship place. But the point is, you get my point. There's not enough, there's not any. And so what I want to talk to you about is not just accessibility, but true accessibility. And what does true accessibility mean? Because unfortunately, government agencies and society at large, we allow ourselves to have a cop-out. Well, we have a ramp. Well, we have a parking spot that has little blue lines around it. Well, let's just hope that there's one of those available for you. Well, let's just hope that you know where the wheelchair ramp is. Well, let's just hope that you know which door to go in that connects to all the other wheelchair ramps throughout the building. Well, let's just hope you know who to check in with and what room to go to and what time to show up. And our families don't know any of it because we seldom ever are out and about in your activities that some of us, again, I'm jealous of those of you that don't have to think about this thing. But so often families, we just attend events and we blindly go about our life not understanding what so many other families have to take into account. And the fact that there are so many legitimate excuses for us families to say, oh yeah, I bet that's going to happen. I'm just going to stay home. You know what? I didn't want to go to that stupid event anyway. But that is crushing us. Because see, when you go to a football game or you go to a concert, that's fun. And as much as an Auburn nut as I am, even I don't want to take my son to every single home game. I want to take my son to 1 or 2 games a year. And, you know, if he loves music, he loves anything loud, he loves anything light. So, you know, yeah, we would like to take our son to maybe 1 concert a year. But what I'm here to talk with you about now, more so than even the football games and the concerts, is what we're trying to help Snazzy go to the next level. And because what I need to do, what my family needs to do, is we need to go be able to have dinner together on a boring Tuesday night at 7 o'clock in downtown Mobile or downtown Saraland. And right now, we can't do that. Right now, our families and families that look like mine, we can't go and spend money in your community. Because just like going to a football game or going to a concert or a basketball game, if we don't have true accessibility, which means where are we going to park, what time are we supposed to show up, which entrance are we supposed to go into, what happens when we show up late. I mean, I literally had a church one time when I showed up 5 minutes early, but I wasn't 10 minutes early, so the side door got locked. And for safety's sake, they didn't want people sneaking in the back door. Okay, but see, as a special needs family, bringing with me a son that can barely walk, well, you know what the answer was to that? That when I got to the door and it was locked, and I text the head deacon, what do I do now? He said, oh, well, just come around to the front of the church and come down the front, come down the aisle. Now the church has already started. Not that you're going to be embarrassed enough, but walk your son down the center aisle of the church and then go to the back room back there. Somebody will come and find you. I said, oh, okay, thank you. I'm gone. I'm never coming back. And I didn't. But that goes to show you that we need to understand certain things. And so what we have been doing at Auburn University, because I was so gracious, fast forward the whole story 7 years really quick, I had an opportunity to meet and get to know Coach Bruce Pearl at Auburn. And he helped us get our Snazzy program at Auburn officially. We had been setting up, because this is a whole long story, but the tent that we used to set up an air-conditioned tent. And inside of the air-conditioned tent, we would set up another tent. And so we went from a 40-foot air-conditioned tent to then we would set up a 10 by 10 tent. And then we would put a cot inside of it. So that if we were at an event, then I could change my son's diaper at any point. And my company, I happened to own a heating and air company back in LaGrange, Georgia. And so my staff, we set up that 40-foot air-conditioned tent at over 700 events out in the public. Because we were trying to create an opportunity for families to attend everything from a local Little League baseball game to the Alzheimer's walk for survivors or whatever. It doesn't matter what the case is. Because the thought that I had was, well, just because I have a severely autistic special needs son that wears a diaper at age 18, well, guess what? That doesn't mean that my mom didn't pass away from breast cancer or my dad from Alzheimer's. And maybe I want to show up and honor their memory or honor their life at fill-in-the-blank event. But our families don't get that luxury. Our families, basically society tells our family, well, you have this X, Y, and Z difficulty. You just need to stay home because we are not equipped to deal with you. And that's just reality. Society isn't equipped. But I felt like there had to be a better solution. And as I mentioned, I also own a heating and air company. And it hit me one day really hard that if you call my company and you say, hey, my air conditioner went down, I'm hot, I need you to come work on my air conditioner. then my office staff is going to look up your account. They're going to allocate your call to a service technician, and you're going to get a notification that says Toby is on his way to your house. And you get to watch my technician drive across town, and in 22 minutes, they're going to show up in your driveway. And then Toby's going to push a button. He's going to say, I've arrived, which means you're going to get a text message that says, hey, guess what? Toby arrived. And then Toby's going to get instructions that say, hey, go upstairs. It's the upstairs unit, and here's the last 5 things that we did on Mrs. Stevens' AC unit. And then Toby's going to fix that AC unit, hopefully, or he's going to order a part for it. And then you're going to get an invoice and you're going to get paid for that. Well, it occurred to me, if we can send Toby to an address he's never been to before, to work on a unit that he's never been to before, and we can document that whole entire process, and we can even set up a system for that customer to get billed and for us to document the warranty work on it, we can actually collect the money on that. What if we could develop a system to where a family, the Johnson family, could use our app and our system to make a 7 p.m. dinner reservation at Joe Kane Cafe in downtown Mobile? And what if Mrs. Johnson could arrange ahead of time a parking spot that was reserved for her family, starting at 6:45, because she has a dinner reservation at 7 p.m. And what if the restaurant and the wheelchair accessible golf cart company could watch Mrs. Johnson travel from her home to her reserved parking spot? And because they could watch her travel across town, heading to her parking spot, guess what they do? Hey, this special needs family that normally always something happens and they're 20 minutes late, they're on time tonight. Look at that. I can see them driving across town. And when they know that they're going to make it to their parking spot on time, and that golf cart driver can come by and pick that special needs family up and take them to their dinner reservation at Joe Kane. Well, now they already knew where they were parking, they knew where they were eating, they knew how they were going to get to the restaurant. And then for families like me, how powerful could it be if when my son poops his pants halfway through dinner, that I could call that same golf cart company back, and next 2 slides, what if they could take me to a station located in downtown Mobile that had this adult changing table in it, or that had a separate quiet room. The room on the left is a kind of a mock living room where we have a lazy boy in there, and that is for elderly people to get to sit down, get off their feet. It's also for those in wheelchairs to be able to get out of their wheelchair to prevent bed sores, and they can get in a zero gravity situation and just get the blood flowing back across their body. The other room over here, this is our bathroom, and this station right now is set up actively running, or will be as soon as me and my wife can get back to Opelika today and turn on the generator. But that's a fully operational toilet with an adult changing table. I'll also have you see, if you look really closely, that on the other side of the adult changing table is a curtain. And this was something that was absolutely blew my wife and I away, is that because when we started serving families at Auburn, we knew exactly what our family looked like, but we didn't really understand the multitude of complications that other families had. And so we've had the pleasure of serving a wide variety of individuals that had feeding tubes, that were on a ventilator, that had Alzheimer's, dementia. And one of the things that we heard about is that, and learned about, were families struggling with Alzheimer's. And much like with my son, because we can't tell my son hey, sit here in this chair. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back in 10 minutes. Don't you wander off now. And so often, individuals dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's, they're in the same boat. They're also now wearing a diaper. So how many here in the room have someone in your family over the age of 70? We all do. Well, I'm here to tell you, you could be getting a phone call today, tomorrow, or in a month from your mother, or from your dad, or from your sister, that so-and-so just had a doctor visit, so-and-so just had a stroke, so-and-so now is going to be dealing with early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and chances are, within the next 3 to 4 years, they're going to be wearing a diaper, and they're not going to be able to communicate with you. And you're going to be in the same boat I'm in, except you don't have an 18-year-old that's been in a diaper since he was born. Now all of a sudden you find yourself with a 77-year-old dad or mother-in-law who's now got dementia, Alzheimer's, wearing a diaper. And so now what really blew me away, and my wife Lindsay, is that what happens to that 56-year-old daughter? When that 56-year-old daughter is trying to take her dad out to his favorite restaurant that he proposed to your mother back 53 years ago, and he just wants to relive that moment one last time. But how do you, 56-year-old daughter, take your dad or your mother to that restaurant one more time? How do you go to the bathroom? Do you get up from the table and tell your dad, now don't you move, I'll be right back in 5 or 10 minutes? No, what you do, especially if you're at a concert or at a football game in amongst 10,000 people, what you have to do is you have to physically take your dad into the bathroom with you, explain to all the other ladies there what's going on. This is my dad, he's 77, he's got dementia. And then what do? You just leave him there in the bathroom? No, you have to walk him into the stall with you. And you have to hold his hand while you sit there and try to use the bathroom with zero dignity and zero peace about yourself. And so what we did was we're designing a chair right now that has a seat belt, so that you could bring your dad or your mother into our restroom, set them down in a chair with the seat belt, and then you can pull that curtain to, so that you know your loved one is safe, but yet you can sit down at the toilet with just a little bit of dignity and peace about your day, so that you can actually enjoy your time out and about with your loved one. And this is just one of the many pieces that we have tried to create and we're creating through Snazzy. And so as we have been serving families at football games at Auburn University, we actually create a step-by-step itinerary for every family that we host and that signs up for our services. And so, matter of fact, if you still go to our website today, which is snazzy.org, I'm going to ask you to visit there in a second. There'll be a QR code flash up on the screen. It's still all set out for Mardi Gras because my wife, who's in the back here, worked her tail off, and she's responsible for communication with our families. And that's what so much of our service is about communication. It's about helping that family understand where they're going to park, how they're going to get from wherever they're parking to, sometimes it's tailgating with us on the football Saturday, or this past winter, we served the city of Mobile for Mardi Gras. And it was amazing. Lindsay and I had never even been to a Mardi Gras parade, and we went to well over a butt ton of them. I think there's a total of 42, and I think we made it to like 37 or so parades. We basically lived down here for a month. But what we were able to do is partner with the city, and the city allocated the best parking lot for Mardi Gras at the Fort Condy parking lot. And then they allocated a huge section of Mardi Gras Park. This was kind of the special services that we provided. We gave everybody wristbands. We tried to have volunteers, which I'm so happy to see so many students here, and we're going to talk to y'all probably in our breakout session about how y'all can help and volunteer. But we also try to provide a host. One thing that we try to acknowledge and understand, and we didn't start exactly on the same time. I'm trying to figure out what time we got, Scott. So I think we got about 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. But it's one thing, like I said earlier, if you can physically attend something, but when you can attend an event with the assistance of Snazzy, and I've been forced to do it my whole entire life, but it is so amazing when I get to sit back and especially watch my wife host a family. And because when you truly understand the stress level that comes along with being a caregiver for a loved one with special needs, when you can attend an event and actually feel like you have somebody there helping you, assisting you, or just simply know where you're supposed to go, like in the event of an emergency, which is going to happen, like what do I do? Who do I reach out to? Having that person, having that infrastructure there is absolutely amazing. And it actually enables you to enjoy your day and not simply grin and bear it and act like you're having a good time. And so part of what Snazzy is attempting to do is we're building, our plan is to build hundreds of our Snazzy stations and trailers. And so if you could imagine, normally we would have our trailer here. Normally we also would have my son's therapy dog with us, and I feel bad because now we're, the trailer, the air conditioner started vibrating off the back of it, and we're heading out of town tomorrow, so my dog had to go to the border a day early. So I apologize, I couldn't bring either one of those down. But normally you could actually tour our trailer, and you could see, so we have a trailer that is very similar to the setup that you saw with the adult changing table and the additional bathrooms. But what we're also building out is our stations. And you can see a picture of our trailer and station there on your table with the handout. But we're working with the city of Mobile, and we're already talking to the city of Fairhope and Foley and Orange Beach and Dolphin Island and some other small communities. But what we're trying to do, and what we could use y'all's help with, is we're trying to come back and offer an annual contract to the city of Mobile and the surrounding cities to partner together so that what we eventually want is to have 2 to 3 of our Snazzy stations, which are, just imagine a 20-foot shipping container. Okay, so we're going to have those shipping containers that are kind of what we call semi-permanently wired in, plumbed in, meaning they have power, they have water, into the city infrastructure. Because we want to have those positioned throughout the city of Mobile. And then we want to partner on top of those, have 3 to 4 trailers that are very mobile. So that every single weekend, I swear, y'all have an event going on every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday down here somewhere. And that's what we want to actually have those trailers go out to that shrimp festival in Fairhope, or the market on Main that happens every Thursday in downtown Mobile, or fill in the blank for the event that happens in Saraland every other Friday afternoon. We're trying to create a system where the cities, the various cities can kind of partner together and share resources so that our special needs families, you caregivers of those with special needs, can actually attend events and understand what is that going to look like in doing so. And what we mean by that is, where are you going to park? How are you going to get transported from wherever you have to park to the actual event? And so that's what we're trying to build out as our infrastructure. And we're very excited. We have a very large multi-billion-dollar company that has offered to help pay and build out our app and our website for free. And so we're very excited about that. In the meantime, we're trying to make connections with organizations like yourself, and we'll go into this more in the breakout session in the future. But we need y'all's help in communicating back with the city council, and we need connections back to your city council, whether that be Saraland, Fairhope, Foley. We've already had a lot of conversations with those, but it always helps to get connected with more. We have a list of businesses that have partnered with us, the infirmary and Newman's Ambulance, and the distribution company, the B, I can't ever remember, BDD.
That's right there.
But anyway, just trying to give a quick shout out to that. And then last but not least, the last slide, and then I'm going to end, which is, this is the QR code. We need all of y'all. There's a bunch of y'all in the room right now. This is just melt our heart, make us feel so warm and fuzzy. If you could please visit that QR code. There's a survey so that you can tell me whether or not I talk too much or I need to shut up sooner. But then we also give you an opportunity to register to volunteer. And any students that we would love for you to volunteer and be able to host a family for Mardi Gras. We just got done having our trailer available for the fireworks down at the battleship that happened last week. And we're already planning our conversations with the city as we speak. And so anybody that would like to volunteer to host a family for Mardi Gras, we're actually giving away some of our Mardi Gras bags and t-shirts. So you can see me or my wife and let us know you'd like to volunteer, and we'll give you a bag and a t-shirt. So with that, I will have all of my questions in the Q&A session coming right back up later. So on to you. Thank you very much.
So I always say the same thing because when I would go to great conferences and I heard a keynote speaker and I was like, man, that's great. I really like to ask these questions. We at Merge have decided you get the time. So in a minute, we're going to do another activity. We've got challenge number 2. Next slide, Emily.